Do you hate the SAT reading section with a passion? Do you feel like the passages are boring and you have a hard time staying focused? Or do you find that you're reading the same thing over and over and over again and you still don't understand what they were trying to say? Today I'm going to show you a strategy to help you save time and get through the section without having to read any of the passages. And you can land a 700 plus doing this. I call it the answer seeking strategy, and I'll show you how it works. Hey guys, Laura Whitmore here with Strategic Test Prep. I am an SAT and ACT tutor with 15 years experience. I've helped hundreds of students boost their scores and get into the colleges of their dreams. I scored almost perfect on the SAT as an adult, and I'm here today to talk to you about the dreaded reading section. A lot of students that come to me, this is their worst section. They run out of time, they think it's boring, they have a hard time staying focused. They tell me they read the same thing over and over again and they have no idea what it's saying. So I will say this isn't my go-to strategy when I first start with a student. I show them something else, but if the student still is consistently running out of time or struggling to get through the section, then I go to this strategy called answer seeking. I'll say I wish I had this strategy when I was in high school. I can totally relate if you're one of the people out there that feels like the reading section is just the worst. I was so lopsided in my score. I had a 780 in math and a 640 in English. And I just didn't have any strategies. I didn't know what I was doing. Even as an adult, when I started working for an educational consulting company down in Florida, I had to take tests to maintain my position regularly, and I still couldn't break into the 700s in the English. I was getting about a 650 every time I went in there. The good news is today I've developed my own strategies and refined them and collaborated with my students, and now the strategies I use get me well into the 700s. My last test I got a 770, so that's 130 points above where I was at in high school. So if I can do it, you can do it. So let's see what this answer seeking strategy is all about. Okay, so about 80% of the questions on the reading section are called line reference questions. Basically, they give you line numbers so you know exactly where to go to get the answers. So I'm gonna screen share with you and I'll show you a reading section and I'll show you how you could do this. So, okay, we are on, this is test 5. Now, we're gonna go to the questions immediately. Well, one thing I'll say is before you go to the questions, you should still read this. This is the intro, okay? It's kind of important because it'll give you, dates so you'll have an idea of how old the passage is. A hint is the older it is, the tougher it's gonna be. So you have an idea of the difficulty level. It will also give you a title, which could give you a sense of the tone. It could give you where it was written. So any background that you can get on what you're about to answer seek will be helpful, especially since you're not reading the passage thoroughly. So you might miss some of the main points. So you'll read the intro and then you go straight to the questions. Now, this first question is not a line reference question. That's a main idea question. You don't have any lines with it. It's just a general question. So you're gonna skip that and save it for last. You'll wanna save the main idea questions for last because the detailed questions that you answer right away will give you a better sense of what the passage was about so that you can answer those main idea ones later. Now look at number 2. They don't give you line numbers, but it says of the first paragraph. So that is a line reference question because it's specific to a certain part of the passage. So you'll just go straight to the first paragraph and you will bracket it and then you will read it. So I will read the whole paragraph, then I'll go back and immediately answer the question. What's efficient about this is many students will just start by reading the whole passage and then they'll go to the questions and then they'll be like, oh, what was the first paragraph about? And then they'll read it again to be able to answer that question. You're basically streamlining it where you're only reading everything one time and you're going straight to find the answers. Once you answer that line reference question, you can move on to the next one. Now the next one is number 3. It says through eating in line 37. So you'll go back into the passage, the lines are numbered. You'll find through eating in line 37. and that's number 3. And then you'll read it. So you'll want to read just around the line reference. Give yourself a little bit of a cushion, maybe a couple lines before and a couple lines after. You'll get a sense of if you need more information or not. If you feel like you don't understand what they're saying, keep going. So it says, when Limey put down his fork and began to count them off one by one on the fingers of his left hand, the waitress, whose name was Irma, thought he was through eating and tried to take his plate away. He stopped her. Okay, I feel like I have enough there, so I'm going to go back. And it said, oh, he's no longer holding his fork. It literally said that in the passage right here. It said, put down his fork. So a lot of the times in the passage, you'll find synonyms or phrases that say the same thing that the answer choice says, maybe in a slightly different way. That question's easier than some other questions. Sometimes the synonyms or the phrases are not as directly related, so it'll be a little bit tougher for you to make the connection. So you'll keep going like that. You'll answer the detailed questions as you go. Then at the very end, you'll go back and do the main idea questions. Now these are going to be tougher because you don't have an overall understanding of the passage since you didn't read it. That's why I don't recommend this strategy to students who can get through reading it in time, because if you're shooting for a perfect score, you might not want to do this strategy because you might miss a couple doing this. But when you go to the main ideas, there are certain tricks that can help you find the answers to these too. So I'm going to run through some of the main idea questions that you could see. One type is the primary purpose of the passage. Now, if they're asking you about a primary purpose of the passage, it's the same thing as the thesis statement. So typically you're going to go to the last sentence of the first paragraph. The next type that they'll ask you about is a main idea of a paragraph. That's not so bad. You just go to the paragraph and you're going to read the topic sentence of the paragraph, which is the first sentence of the paragraph. Another type of question, which is a little bit tougher, is a focus shifts question. You'll see on this passage, there's a focus shifts question right here in number 1. Now, if you're not sure how the focus shifted, you can go back and just read every beginning sentence for each paragraph to get the topic sentence of each paragraph. That'll give you a sense of how the passage flows. And then you can see what it was focused on and then what it started to focus on later. The last thing that you could see is what's called a central claim question. Now, it's just how it sounds. The central claim can be found in the center of the passage. So if you're not sure what the answer is to that type of question, go to the middle paragraph in the passage or a couple of the paragraphs in the middle if there's an even amount. Read those and then you'll get a sense of what the answer is to that. Again, this strategy only works if you are tight on time and you're shooting for a 700 plus, but you're not trying to get a perfect score. I would say practice makes perfect, so you're going to want to practice this strategy, try it on for size, and then the most important thing is go back through, vet your answers, find out which ones you missed, and try to figure out what you did wrong. This might be hard to do sometimes, so it's important to get with a good test prep tutor who can help guide you and help you see which answer choices are trap answer choices and why, so that you can get better at getting to the right answer instead of picking the wrong one. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you found this helpful today. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below. I will continue to post videos weekly on topics such as this to help you ace the SAT or the ACT. Good luck on your journey to college and hope to see you again.